What's going on, guys? It's Patrick here, and today, guys, we are going to be looking at the top 5 greatest Pokemon games of all time. Now, Pokemon recently celebrated its 21st year as a series, and whether you started playing in 1997 or 2017, there's one thing that we all share in common. And what is that, you may ask? Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious. We all like to play Pokemon. Now, I've been a longtime fan of the series. I started playing all the way back in 2001 on Pokemon Silver with my original Game Boy that I got for Christmas. It was a great time, but I still love Pokemon to this day. So anyways, in this video, we're going to be looking at the top 5 greatest Pokemon games of all time. So coming in at our number 5 spot, this is going to be Pokemon Platinum from Generation 4. Now, Generation 4 is a very popular generation. I think one of the biggest reasons is they did the best remake. I honestly believe Heart Gold and Soul Silver is the best remake we've actually seen of any Pokemon game. But the thing I think that really made Gen 4 good, and specifically Pokemon Platinum, which is the one I'm picking for our 5th spot, is the advances in technology with this game. It was the first game that we ever actually saw a 3D styled, and although it wasn't the greatest looking 3D animations and map and all that sort of stuff, it really paved the road for what was to come in future Pokemon games. And I think overall, I mean, just bringing in that much needed boost in graphics, that was huge for the series. It really made those games better. And anyways, Pokemon Platinum, I asked out on Twitter, what's your favorite? And this was a huge one that a lot of people replied to. So Generation 4 Pokemon Platinum comes in at number 5. Now moving down to our number 4 spot, guys, this is going to be Gen 7's Pokemon Sun and Moon. So when I think about this game, these two games as a whole of the franchise, I really look at it as though it was almost the perfect storm for the Pokemon series. Because if you think about it, they just celebrated their 20-year anniversary that last year. Then Pokemon Go flooded the markets, and then at the peak of that hype for Pokemon, we had the drop of Pokemon Sun and Moon. Now, the thing that was so great about Pokemon Sun and Moon is that it was targeted towards older players and new players. You could hop in this game and you hadn't have played since Generation 1, Pokemon Red, Black and White, and you would recognize a lot of Pokemon because they utilized a lot of Kanto Pokemon because they know they wanted to have people that are familiar with the old games come in and be like, oh, this is so cool. This is just like back in the day. So they really captured that nostalgia, but they also had a really new and innovative system. I mean, no gym leaders. They just had the trials, the Z crystals, all that kind of stuff. Really great graphics. And overall, it took the nostalgia of Pokemon and added all this new stuff to it to just make a really incredible game. And let's not forget Alolan Doug Trio. Just look at that stunning hair. Now moving down to our number 3 spot, guys, this is going to be Pokemon Red, the OG, Black and White, original 151. This was the game that started it all. But the truth is, this game still stands the test of time, okay? You can go back to these games and they are still fun to play. Whether you want to play the remake Fire Red or just the straight original, I swear these games are still amazing. Now, yes, the original Pokemon games had so many flaws. There was a 1 in 256 chance of any single Pokemon move missing, even if it said it had a 100% chance of hitting. Sprites so bad, they gave children nightmares. I mean, let's just take a moment to pray for our homie Charmeleon. The special stat was combined, so if you had a Pokemon with really high special attack, guess what? It also has really high special defense. And on that note, psychic Pokemon in general were just downright invincible. And I could go on for another 10 minutes, but despite all the flaws with Generation 1, it was a phenomenal game of just fun exploring this new world, battling gym leaders, fighting your rival, and at the end of it all, you beat the Elite Four, your rival's there, he's already beat them. It is just the pure nostalgia, but again, Pokemon Red stands the test of time, and it comes in at number 3. Now moving down to our number 2 spot, guys, this is going to be Pokemon Emerald from Gen 3. Now what I love about Gen 3 is it was the generation that finally fixed Pokemon. I feel like the previous 2 generations had so many glitches and bugs and just stuff that didn't make any sense. And Generation 3 was finally the point where things started to get a little bit better. Graphics went up, and overall, it was just a great series. It was so different from the past where, you start in this town, and I mean, that's the classic, but you have a friendly rival, and you're going through Team Aqua, Team Magma. That was super cool. The legendaries were amazing. The gym battles were amazing. They were actually difficult. The Elite Four was great. Honestly, the only thing I didn't like about Emerald was just the amount of water in the Hoenn region, okay? Having to die for stuff. That was about the only thing I didn't enjoy. But besides that, overall, it was a great game. It added tons of new things like the battle tent, as well as the contest, the beauty contest or whatever. Overall, though, it was an amazing game, and it comes in at number 2. Now, before we get down to our number 1 spot, guys, it is time for the honorable mentions. And I got one, okay? I got one. It has to go to Pokemon Go. Now, Pokemon Go is the biggest Pokemon game of all time, so obviously I had to put it on this list in some way. But the point of this video wasn't really like older games. It was just specifically on the normal original series. So no like Pokemon Coliseum or anything like that. But Pokemon Go was the biggest game for Pokemon ever. It was like the most downloaded game on the App Store ever. And honestly, it just gave so much more hype and so much more awareness of Pokemon Go that I think overall it was a really good thing for the entire series. I could not give it some credit. But anyways, guys, coming in at our number 1 spot, this is going to be Pokemon Silver and Gold of Generation 2. Now, I feel like there's going to be a lot of people out here that don't agree with me on this, so I'm going to really have to put it out for you guys why I think this is the greatest Pokemon game ever created. Pokemon Gold and Silver, and even Crystal for that matter, are just simply a continuation of Generation 1. And we have never seen that in Pokemon before. You do Generation 1, and if you've played that game and you go to our second generation in Crystal and Gold, you're basically playing Pokemon Red and Blue Part 2. Updated graphics, 100 new Pokemon, and it is awesome. Pokemon Gold and Silver was what the original Pokemon games wanted to be, but just simply didn't have the hardware capacity. The original 151 Pokemon is a little bit bland, but as soon as you added a new 100, 251, I truly feel like that was the best amount of Pokemon to have in a game. They added new evolutions for Onix into Steelix, Scyther goes to Scizor, 2 new evolutions, all kinds of really good evolutions for Pokemon. Plus you have some of the greatest legendaries ever. Just saying, okay? We got Suicune, Raikou, Entei, Ho-Oh, and Lugia. That's a pretty good tier of legendaries right there. And not to mention all the familiar faces. Team Rocket invades the world again. They're doing all this terrible stuff. Guess who's gonna help you out? But none other than the Dragon Master who you fought in Generation 1, Lance. And speaking of Team Rocket, you know Giovanni? Well, your rival, that's his son. And once you've gone through, you've beaten the Elite Four, guess what you can actually do? You can go back, play Kanto again, and have the greatest ending to a Pokemon game ever. You fight yourself, aka the most legendary Pokemon trainer of all time to this date, Red. I honestly can't think of a better ending to a Pokemon game, and honestly guys, that is why I had to put Generation 2 at the top. It may not have the best graphics, it may not be the most full Pokemon game, but it is just essentially Generation 1, but complete. It is what Generation 1 wanted to be and couldn't, and Generation 2 completed that and more. In a nutshell, Pokemon Gold and Silver managed to pave the way for what would be the rest of the Pokemon games in such an innovative and amazing way. I feel like without those games, the games we have today would not have been where they are in any stretch of the imagination. So I had to give it up to Pokemon Silver and gold. Anyways though guys, that is going to be the video for today. If you guys enjoyed, maybe you want to check out my little playthrough that I did of Pokemon Soul Silver. But other than that guys, thank you so much for watching. I know Pokemon Top 5, a little bit different, but I had a lot of fun making this. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, leave a like, and see you guys later.